This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. I'm joined by promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, sorry I didn't say hello to you, but I was straight on top of you.
No, just so the viewers understand how you have changed, Andy. I walked in and went, Andy, how are you? And you went, interview? Not even, I'm very well, Eddie, how are you? You look well? Nothing, just interview. So, you know, that's all right, Andy, I remember things like that.
I do apologise, Eddie, I was just in a work mode, but how are you?
I'm very well, thank you, mate, I'm very well. Been a mad couple of weeks. Was in Milan last Friday, which was fantastic. This week, of course, we got Bilbao on Friday night and the Big O2 show on Saturday. So, fantastic, looking forward to it and ready for another great weekend where we're very lucky to be alive.
100% Eddie, and obviously a busy schedule that we've just witnessed. Obviously coming here now, Buatsi Richards, a fight which has had everybody talking. A lot of heavyweight scene domestically has been calling for a big fight between two British guys, and we finally have one between Josh and Craig. What should everybody expect come Saturday night? Just
a great domestic fight. You know, these are the fights that we should be making in boxing. You've seen from the promo videos the story of don't wait. You know, don't wait for an opportunity that one might be miles away and two might not even exist. Get in there in fights you believe you can win, give the public what they want, create great moments, make your money, and if you're good enough, you'll go on and fight for the world title anyway. So, you know, as these fights get closer, people always start debating and you know, Richards' stock has obviously risen a lot in the last couple of weeks without even getting in a ring because of Dimitri-Bivol's victory. And a lot of people in boxing think this fight is a 50-50. You know, outside of that, because of maybe the Buatsi hype machine since the Olympics, they see him as a favourite for this fight. But I think it's going to be a tremendous fight, I really do.
We obviously saw the face-off between Josh and Craig with AJ stuck in the middle there. What did you make of it? Did you feel that's the first time maybe Josh felt a little disrespected at all by the opinion?
I think Joshua Buatsi, it's not like he's two people, but he's a very respectful man, very polite man, but he's also a very vicious man. And when you flick his switch, and that switch normally gets flicked on the ring walk, he changes completely. That switch got flicked at the head-to-head for the first time. And that's interesting in this fight because he's never been through that before. He's never really had any animosity regarding an opponent. He's never had any bad blood. And these two know each other. It's not like they don't like each other, but Craig has questioned Buatsi's credentials and his ability and maybe his heart and maybe his route to where he got to. You've got to understand the narrative of this fight. When you come out of the Olympics and you had the kind of career that Joshua Buatsi had in the Olympics, you sign a big deal for a lot of money. You get the fights you want, you get the big shows, you get everything. Craig Richards, exactly the reverse. Good amateur, but didn't have the credentials, had to go on small hall shows, had to dive in against Frank Buglioni on 1 week's notice, had to fight Dimitri-Bivol probably before he was ready. And sometimes that hardens you up for these nights. And I think that's what he wanted to put across to Buatsi. And Buatsi probably feels like, I haven't been given stuff, I've had to work for stuff, which he has, of course, but it's interesting, and it'll be interesting to see what's said today, and particularly what's said tomorrow. But I love it, because it adds a different dynamic, and both guys are desperate to win. Both camps are desperate to win. And I think it's going to be a tremendous fight.
We know in Josh's case, he's been knocking on that door for just been a world scene for a while now, and Craig has competed up there. Is it very much so the successor on Saturday night goes into world honours?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think there's anywhere else to go. Like, look at the other fighters in the division in the rankings. You know, you saw Dominic Bazell box, it get crumpled by Gilberto Ramirez. He was number one with the WBA. All those guys, Callum Smith, Buatsi, Ramirez, even Yard, that they should only be fighting for world titles, really. Callum Smith, I think he'll be fighting on the AJ card in a final eliminator probably for Beterbiev. He's ready, everyone's ready, but you can't just tread water and wait. And that's what I love about this fight. And, you know, you cannot wait for a world title fight that may not even materialise in the next 6 months. So I'm intrigued to see what happens on Saturday.
Got to ask Eddie, obviously you mentioned the winner of Saturday night potentially being in the frame to face Canelo at the end of this year. This was all before the Bivol fight. Is that still a possibility?
No, I think you go straight into the Bivol fight. I mean, look, if Canelo Alvarez, who, you know, we will announce his next move probably next week, really has two options here. You know, he can rematch Dimitri-Bivol, which I know is the one that he wants to do, or he could go back into the big trilogy against Triple G and then fight Dimitri-Bivol. So he's in a great position. If he chooses to fight Gennady Golovkin, then Dimitri-Bivol will defend his world championships around the same time. The winner of Saturday is prime candidate for that defence, especially obviously being with Matchroom. So I think that the fight, although the Canelo fight for the winner on Saturday is not really there anymore, the fight with Bivol is, and right now, you know, he's arguably the best 175 pounder in the world. So everybody's queuing up. Callum's queuing up. You know, with the WBC, he's number one. The winner of this fight will go to 1 or 2 with the WBA. I would probably like, if Canelo fights Bivol, I would like to see the winner of Saturday's fight Gilberto Ramirez. I think that's a tremendous fight. And Yard's queuing up as well for Beterbiev. So, you know, anything can happen, but you've got to get active, because if you're not active, when you get that big chance, you ain't going to be ready.
What do you think the most likely outcome is then for Canelo? You just said that he wants Bivol. You'd probably like him to go with Golovkin, then go into Bivol. Yeah. But what do you think?
They're just 2 huge fights. I mean, the Golovkin fight remains the biggest fight in boxing, and even more so now because Canelo had this air of invincibility, didn't he, going into the Bivol fight where he couldn't get beat. He's got beat now, so people give Golovkin a lot more chance in that fight than they may have done if he cruised past Bivol. So, but the Bivol rematch is huge. But Triple G and Bivol, one after the other, it's all good for the resume. But, you know, he can't lose again now. And I think it's incredible that you see Canelo Alvarez drop to 6 or 7 on the pound-for-pound rankings after moving up to a weight division he doesn't even belong to fight the best in the division. But, you know, it's boxing, and, you know, we'll make a decision next week with him.
Obviously, just kind of sticking with the boxing, which has just recently happened. Just get your thoughts this past weekend, Jermell Charlo becoming the undisputed against Brian Castano. What do you make of it?
I think it's great for boxing. You know, I have to be honest, and this might be bad on my part, I didn't realise it was undisputed. I thought it was unified. I didn't realise that
Castano had the WBO.
I knew he had the WBO, but I didn't realise that Charlo had the other 3. Must have had it when he beat, I can't remember his name, who was unified. Him. So yeah, great. I think, look, the more undisputed champions we can get, the better. And, you know, the first fight, many felt like Castano won that fight against Charlo. So big respect to Jermell Charlo for another undisputed world champion.
One thing I did forget to ask on the Canelo front is the pay-per-view numbers. Now, I saw some tweets coming out that some people thought 300k. You tweeted back 600 or just over.
Well over 600,000, not 700. And, you know, I always push the zone to announce the numbers, and the pay-per-view for Canelo Alvarez did comfortably through 600,000. I'm sure Mr. Markowski will actually, although they won't report numbers, will confirm that fact. You see, some people like to report. I saw a report saying apparently there was 150,000 pay-per-view buyers off platform. That's about right, actually, that number. Off platform. It was a DAZN pay-per-view, not an off-platform pay-per-view. That was just a couple of outlets. Of course, the bulk of the buyers were done through the DAZN platform, and the buyers, it was a big success and well through 600,000 buyers, of which will be confirmed by DAZN.
Do you know how many viewers it did worldwide? Obviously, it wasn't pay-per-view in UK, for example.
No, I don't know. I know the pay-per-view numbers. I'm sure they may look to announce a viewership as well, but it was their first pay-per-view. It was a huge success. I know what the targets were. I have to be honest, did I think it would do over 600,000? Probably not for the first pay-per-view, but it did, and it was a massive success.
Obviously, you mentioned Joshua Usyk earlier. You said to me last time I saw you in Vegas, but the hope was to announce it the week after that. Haven't had it. What's the hold-up, Eddie?
Just contracts, really. Contracts, obviously making sure various agreements are in place, payments are in place. You will get an announcement next week on that fight, because we're coming up to 9 weeks to go till that fight. So July 23rd, still the front runner, but expect an official announcement on Joshua Usyk next week.
Middle East?
At the moment, looks like the front runner.
Just sticking with the heavyweight division, obviously I asked you about Tyson Fury with the WBC situation. They've come out saying they're going to give him a bit more time to make his mind up as to what he wants to do. Just want to get your thoughts on that.
I don't know why he needs time. He's retired. But no, look, we all know he's not retiring. He won't vacate the belt, and you know, I hope he faces the winner of Joshua Usyk. I think that's a tremendous fight for his career.
What's the latest with Conor Benn? I saw him calling for the Keith Thurman fight.
Yeah, I had a meeting with Conor yesterday, and Tony and Charlie, and you know, we're weighing up whether you have a fight in July or whether you just go into the biggest fight possible in perhaps August or September. There were 3 or 4 names bounded around, which will get everybody absolutely frothing at the mouth. I won't mention them on here because we're negotiating with it at the moment, and it's likely that he will go straight into a big one next. I'm talking big, like, you know, the stabilisers are off. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, we've got the July 9th date. That could be Conor, but could be Chisora as well. We decide that over the next couple of days. But Conor, ready, and you know, if you listen to Conor Ben and you know what he wants, maybe it's time to let him go and let him spread his wings and dive straight in with the real big boys.
You mentioned Derek Chisora again, just an update on him, Eddie.
Yeah, signed his contract this morning for his fight. We hope to get the opponent signing his contract tonight, and you will get an announcement in the next few days on Derek Chisora's next fight. Fantastic fight in London, and I can't wait.
So I can't get it out of you yet.
No, not yet.
Final one, Eddie. Just seen that apparently Devin Haney's yet to fly to Australia. I don't know if you know that's true or not. I know you're not involved with his fight, but because of your past relationship with him, do you have any idea as to what's what?
I believe he's on the plane right now. So yeah.
Perfect. Cheers, Eddie.
No, cheers.